Imagine a man who was so great that he became a legend while he was still alive. A name that echoed from the vast plains of the Wild West to the most luxurious theaters of London and Paris. A hunter who fed nations, a scout who uncovered lands, a showman who conquered the world. He wasn't just a person, he was a spectacle. And that spectacle forever changed the way we see history. But was the story he told us real? If you think you know the Old West, get ready, because today we're going to uncover the truth behind the myth, the man, the legend, the empire. This is the man who created the American dream with his own hands. This is Buffalo Bill. This is the story of William Frederick Cody, whom the world would know as Buffalo Bill. We are born many times in history. The first time when we come into the world, then in the stories told about us, and finally in the myth that survives beyond our own existence. Buffalo Bill experienced these three births in an extraordinary way. On February 26, 1846, on a farm near LeClaire, Iowa, William Frederick Cody was born. It was a period of violent expansion, of promise and danger. His father, Isaac Cody, was a fervent abolitionist, a dangerous position in pre-Civil War America. Can you imagine Will's childhood? At age 8, his father was stabbed during an abolitionist speech. The man survived, but the family had to move to Kansas, where the conflict over slavery was especially bitter. At age 11, Will lost his father, not to direct violence, but to complications from that old wound. Isaac's death left the family in financial difficulties. Will, now the man of the house at 11 years old, had to work. His first big adventure? At age 14, he left home to work as a messenger for the Pony Express Shipping Company. Legend has it that he made one of the longest runs in the company's history, more than 500 kilometers without stopping, changing horses at strategic stations, delivering vital mail through dangerous territory. Imagine this skinny, determined teenager crossing the plains under an endless sky. Every kilometer traveled was not just a letter delivery, it was a lesson about the territory, about survival, about the vastness of America. These experiences would shape not only his skills, but his worldview. At age 18, with the Civil War underway, Will enlisted in the 7th Kansas Cavalry Regiment, not as a combatant initially, but as a scout. His knowledge of the territory and his survival skills were invaluable. Here he began his transition from messenger to frontier man. After the war in 1867 came the job that would give him his most famous name. The Kansas Pacific Railroad needed to feed its workers, thousands of men building tracks across the plains. The meat? Buffalo. William Cody became the railroad's official hunter. In 18 months, he claimed to have killed 4,280 American bison. 4,280 buffalo. It's not just a hunting feat, it's a symbol of an era, a mindset, an ecological and cultural tragedy. Buffalo wasn't just food for railroad workers, its elimination was part of a conscious strategy to remove the main source of sustenance for the native peoples of the plains. Cody was good at what he did, so good that he earned the nickname that would follow him forever, Buffalo Bill. How do we balance this story? The man we admired for his courage also participated, consciously or not, in a campaign of destruction that would forever change the balance of the Great Plains. Human history rarely fits into simple categories of hero or villain. The
Between 1868 and 1872, Cody served as a civilian scout for the U.S. Army, participating in 16 engagements. In 1872, he received the Congressional Medal of Honor for bravery in action as a scout at the Battle of the Platte River. In 1917, Congress revised the criteria and revoked medals awarded to civilians, including Cody's. He returned it, but always considered himself a medalist. It was not until 1989, posthumously, that the Army restored his medal. Those years as a scout brought him into close contact, often in conflict, but also in mutual respect, with Native American leaders like Sitting Bull. These complex relationships would be central to his future show. Ned Buntline, a pulp fiction writer, turned Cody's adventures into cheap novels. Buffalo Bill, the king of the frontier man, became a national sensation. Suddenly, the real man had to compete with his own fictional version. But Cody was smart. He realized he could capitalize on this fame. In 1872, he made his theatrical debut in Chicago. The following year, he began touring with his own company. And then, in 1883, the concept that would change everything was born in North Platte, Nebraska, the Wild West Show. It wasn't a circus, Cody insisted. It was an educational exhibition of the Old West. And what a show it was. Shootouts, horseback riding, performances recreating the stagecoach robbery, the Battle of Little Bighorn, and even a reenactment of the attack on the Pioneer wagon train.
The stroke of genius, hiring the very Native Americans who had fought in those battles. Sitting Bull, a great Sioux leader, toured with the show for 4 months. Imagine the irony. Warriors who had fought against American expansion now being paid to reenact those battles for an audience that had defeated them in real life. What did this mean? For some critics, it was the ultimate exploitation of Native culture. For others, including some of the Native participants themselves, it was a way to make money in a world that had taken everything from them, and to keep their traditions alive on a national stage. The truth probably lies somewhere in between. Buffalo Bill took his Wild West show to England for Queen Victoria's Golden Jubilee. It was a resounding success. London's The Times magazine wrote, "He is the most interesting man who has ever visited this country." In the following years, the show would travel throughout continental Europe, including a performance for Pope Leo XIII. It's estimated that over the course of his career, Buffalo Bill's show was seen by more than 50 million people. He didn't just portray the American West, he defined it for the world. In addition to Sitting Bull, Annie Oakley, the prodigious markswoman, was the big female star. The show employed about 1,200 people, traveled on a train with 50 cars, and needed 500 horses. It was, in its day, the largest traveling show in the world. William Cody was a man of contradictions. He defended Native American rights in speeches and articles, even while profiting from their portrayal. He defended women's rights, paying Annie Oakley a salary that exceeded that of many men. He was teetotal, rarely drinking alcohol. He supported wildlife conservation despite his past as a buffalo hunter. In his personal life, he married Louisa Frederici in 1866. The marriage was tumultuous. She preferred a stable life. He lived on the road. They had 4 children, but family tragedies haunted them. 2 of their sons died young. Cody built an impressive mansion in North Platte, Nebraska, but spent little time there. As with many great showmen, the ending was not glamorous. failed investments, poor financial management, and decline in interest in the Old West in the new 20th century led to the Wild West show's bankruptcy in 1913. William F. Cody died on January 10, 1917 in Denver, Colorado. He was surrounded by family and friends. His coffin was draped with the American flag and the Colorado flag. Thousands attended the funeral. But the story does not end with his death. Buffalo Bill is perhaps one of the earliest examples of modern celebrity culture. He understood the power of image, branding, and storytelling. He appears in more than 50 films, countless books, and plays. His legacy is contested today. For some, he is a symbol of American imperialism, the destruction of native peoples and wildlife. For others, he's a visionary entrepreneur who captured a crucial moment in American history. When we visit the Buffalo Bill Center of the West in Cody, Wyoming, the town he founded, or when we watch a modern depiction of the Old West, we are interacting with the vision that William Cody sold us. He didn't invent the West, but he did invent the way the world would imagine it. Narrator: Buffalo Bill was a messenger, hunter, scout, showman, icon. But above all, he was a man of his time, with all the glories, flaws, and contradictions that implies. His story reminds us that legends are created by real people with real dreams, struggling to find their place in history while helping to create it. William F. Cody teaches us that sometimes to understand history, we need to look beyond the myth and find the complex, flawed, and extraordinarily human man who existed behind the legacy.